Okay.
My name's Jennifer, and I'm going to tell you my story. I'm 33 years old, and when I was in junior high in 7th grade, I met the love of my life, and we were girlfriend and boyfriend all through junior high school, after high school, and 7 years ago, I went to the river, and I was partying a little too much. Someone slipped me something, and I was raped by more than 2 people, and I was kind of in and out of it through the whole thing, but I basically woke up in the morning on the beach, a mess, and I knew what had happened. So I went home to my parents' house, and 3 months later I found out I was pregnant. So my boyfriend, that had been my boyfriend forever, he and I moved to Colorado, and he was going to love me the same, and he said we would take care of it, we'd handle it, we'd do it together. And one night in a bar, Jim was my boyfriend's name, he was a bartender in a bar, and someone came in, had a few drinks, started a fight, pulled a gun out, shot my boyfriend, killed him, and I was left with our 8-year-old son, and he was still in California at the time, and I was pregnant with a baby that was not conceived consensually, and I came home to California. I had that baby and gave him up for adoption. He's with a lovely family in Ireland, has everything he could ever think of and more. So out of a tragedy like that came a blessing for another family. But still we were left with the tragedy of losing my best friend, my other half of my heart, and my 8-year-old son, his father. I didn't deal with it well. I took my son to my mom's house and said, I can't do this. And I walked away from being a mother, a daughter, a friend, and a operating and good person in society. I ended up being a drug addict. Ended up putting needles in my arms, slamming dope, and losing everything. I even lost his ashes. I lost the urn that had his ashes in them because of my addiction and the people I was hanging around with. For about 4 years, I was just a drug addict and nothing else. And then I was my family did an intervention. They stopped me and said, we love you, we want you to be a part of our family. Sent me to rehab 3 different times. That didn't work. Finally, I just said, forget it, I'll do it on my own. And I moved away from the drug setting, small town Banning, came to Hemet, and got clean. And that's where I'm at now.
How old was Jim when he passed away?
He was 27.
And how old were you?
I was 25.
Do you still think about him?
Every day. I wonder what it would have been like if we would have gone home. We talked about it. It was really weird. Like 2 hours before he was shot, for some reason, something came over me, and I leaned over the bar and said, let's just go. And he was like, I can't just go. I'm working. I was like, okay. And if we would have just been spontaneous and just taken that whim, maybe he could have been here.
Do you know what happened to the person that killed him? Was he ever caught?
Yeah. He got 18 years. 15 years for involuntary manslaughter. 3 years for a felony crime committed with a weapon, a firearm. But he'll probably get out for good behavior or whatever. He probably won't do the whole time. And he'd already been picked up 7 or 8 times in that same county in the last 2 years prior to that for just petty things. But he was 5150, and if they would have, it's all if, should have, would have, if they would have done something about it. But that's where we're at.
Now, what started you on your addiction? I mean, did you already have prior drug use with that same drug before, or was it just something that you were trying to numb yourself?
It's something that we partied with once in a while, but I was looking to be numb. I was looking to feel nothing. I was actually, while I was pregnant, with that child, I started my heavy drug use. Part of losing Jim, part of I have a child in me that, you know, I never wanted. I don't know who the father is, you know what I mean? It was violent how that baby was conceived, and I had no love for that child. And I love kids. I'm a kid person, but there was no way I could give that child what he needed, ever.
Now, what did you do to get yourself clean?
I came home. I moved in with my parents and just started to be a part of the family again. And they were my support system. My friends were my support system. Just removing myself from the situation. You know, if you're hanging out with bad people, it's your own decisions, but the wrong people have a major influence on what you do and the choices you make. So I removed myself from that. I moved 11 miles away and changed my life.
Now, how did your parents respond to you during the time you had your addiction?
My mom was very angry. My mom didn't understand. She is a mom. She thought it doesn't matter how much you hurt. You're a mom. You need to be a mother. You need to buck up. My dad was a bit more sympathetic. I'm closer with my dad than I am with my mom. Mm-hmm. My dad felt he wasn't okay with it at all, but he was like, I heard him having conversations with my mom. She's hurting. You know what I mean? She watched someone she loved dearly get shot right in front of her, you know? And that only lasted for a little while. My dad just turned disappointed because it was ongoing and it kept going and kept going. It wasn't like, okay, just let her have her time and then it'll get better. It took a long time.
Now, how did your son respond when you left him to try to heal yourself or mend yourself?
He felt abandoned. He didn't like me for a long time. He hated me. He thought I was selfish. He thought I was replacing his dad with drug addict boyfriends, the drug itself. And he didn't quite understand until later on that it was just he didn't want to feel. I was so encompassed in pain and grief, and I was lost. You know, we have a pretty good relationship now.
Were you searching for the same kind of love you had with your boyfriend?
Yes.
And was it found?
No. That, I don't think I'll ever find that again, ever.
Are you in contact with his family?
They blame me. His mom blames me. The way it went down was he was defending me. And so, yeah, it was all my fault. That was another thing I had to deal with because I blamed myself as well. If I hadn't have been there, if I would have kept my mouth shut, if I, you know, maybe it just wouldn't have been.
Do they take part in his life?
Yeah. Not a whole lot because it impacted everybody losing Jim. His mom never got over it. She doesn't leave her house. She takes more medication than Carter has pills. It's Orion that does the effort to go see his grandma, and that family, they don't make the effort. And I don't go in her yard. I don't call her phone. She literally despises me.
Was that hurtful to you?
Yeah. It does. I mean, I grew up with her. She was the other mom. But I can kind of understand. I can be, I don't understand. I don't understand, but I can be
Sympathetic?
sympathetic.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And how did you meet him?
Stagecoach Carnival. I had my group of friends, he had his group of friends. They were all kind of loud and obnoxious and showing off, and he was just kind of standing off on the side with his brown moccasin boots and his leather jacket, and he was just really quiet, and he caught my eye when I caught his, and next thing you know, we were on the zipper making out.
And how old were you?
I was 13.
And how old was he?
He was 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was my first kiss, my first everything.
Would you consider it love at first sight? Or was it more like a admiration?
It was 13-year-old lust. But it didn't take very long for it to be, I love you madly. And that's why I think I'll never feel that again. We had a lot of time invested, and there's just nothing like being 14 and in love. Absolutely not.
What did your parents think of him when they first met him?
Jim was a little eccentric. Like, he wore all of his like Indian jewelry and his hair down and his leather jacket and those moccasins. And my mom, she was like, oh my God. And my dad made a comment, what's he gonna do next? Put a bone through his nose? He did not like him. They didn't like him.
Was it his appearance they didn't like, or?
It was his appearance, he was kind of like a snot. Not a snot. He was arrogant. He was really arrogant. And he didn't really follow the dynamics of, I'm in my girlfriend's parents' house and I need to act a certain way and be polite. He was kind of like, yep, this is my girlfriend. What? So that